My unit, salute. Night of Champions 2025. The good, the bad, and the ugly review begins right now. This was a 6-match card. Night of Champions? Not quite. First of all, it was more like morning or afternoon of Champions for most. And as far as the Champions part, there was only 2 title matches on this card. Now, we were going to crown a king and a queen because the finals were held at this event. And don't worry, this was in Saudi, not the US, so we can have a king and a queen. But does that constitute as Night of Champions? I'm sure this company just wants to get this event done with, collect their $45 million from Saudi, and get out of Dodge, and hope that we all don't ask questions. But it was hardly a Night of Champions. But was the event at least good? Maybe great? Or was it bad? Maybe ugly? That's what we're going to talk about. The most truthful, the most honest, the most amplified review you'll get in this community. You just landed upon it. Now, for my veteran subscribers, my channel members especially, give me a moment while I introduce the rules to my newer subscribers, if you don't mind. See, the rules are simplistic. Every single match will get at least 1 tally in one of these columns. Good, bad, or ugly. Of course, we're hoping for good. If it goes into bad, it's not the end of the world. But stay away from that ugly column, because at the end of this review, every ugly gets crossed off and turns into 2 bads. That could greatly determine the outcome of this event in deciding if it's good or bad. So stay away from the uglies, man, because that ugly column, each tally, it'll turn into 2 bads. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if something was great, BC? There's not a great column. Well, we don't get enough great stuff these days. But if there is, I will absolutely give 2 goods in the good column. So those are the rules. Now, at any moment, I can, for any situation, put a tally into one of these columns. It doesn't have to have a match outcome. It could be the booking. It could be fan response. It could be what it leads to. It could be for just exceptional work, mannerisms, and in-ring psychology. At any moment, for any reason, I could put an extra tally or tallies in any of these columns for anything that has to do with this event. So it doesn't have to be just 1 tally per matchup. Hopefully that makes sense. So without any further ado, I say we get right into it, because they went into this thing hot. They had CM Punk and John Cena as the main event. So they're like, we probably should just do Cody and Randy to kick it off. And that's what they did. Let me get a swig of coffee, and we'll start off with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, King of the Ring final. A lot of you guys said this is Cody, obviously, but some people were going, what if? What if Randy goes full throttle heel and takes this thing? Or post-match, maybe he loses it. Close. Very close. Did they actually go that far? Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, we started with Pyro. That's, hey, $45 million will get us that, right? Thankfully. Thank you, Saudi, for giving us Pyro, because that's what happened. This company is nonstop trying to save every single penny. As if they're not getting enough in advertisements these days. They got 1,000 advertisements per square inch on these television shows. Briefcase has advertising. The ladders, the tables have advertising. But we can't even get Pyro. But Saudi's throwing $45 million, so we get Pyro. That's always a pleasant sight to see. Then Cody makes his entrance. Randy first, I should say. Then Cody Rhodes. Now this sucks that I have to do this, but because I do pride myself and this channel on being the most amplified in truth and the most amplified in honesty, the booking of this matchup, Cody versus Randy, the finals of this tournament, this gets a bad tally. Right into the bad. It sucks that I have to do that, but it has to be done because there was so much story that could have and should have been told between these 2 individuals. the teacher and the student from Legacy. Everything you could have done with these two before they finally step foot in the ring again, because they did many years ago. But that's forgotten about. But instead of giving us the most impactful story behind this, we get these two on a week's notice for a tournament on a Saturday afternoon in Saudi. Unacceptable. This is one of those rare matches that most of the community was like, damn, if this is done correctly, this is next level. And they just gave it away on a week's notice. So I know what you're thinking. Well, BC, this could lead to other matches between them. Maybe Randy turns heel and we're off to the races. You're missing the point, though. We just saw them wrestle for over 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Once you start to see the same match over and over, you're just seeing the same match over and over. That's the problem. Now you're just paying, even if it's $5 or $10 for subscription service, you're just paying for the same matches. So you want to try to tap into whatever creativity that you possess. You want to tap into that before you actually have your wrestlers face each other. And Kennedy McMahon and Hunter Hearst Helmsley Levesque McMahon, they're two in the same with doing the exact same bullshit. They just love to do rematches because they don't want to get creative. So how they get to everything is just having everybody wrestle 100 times. You could have kept them away and gotten to a way better matchup and feud and story between these two multi-month. Still might get it, but this should not have been their first encounter in years. Not when there was so much story sitting in your lap. So that's why a little explanation, but it has to be done. I know it sucks. I know it's harsh. Sometimes you got to be harsh in telling the truth. It gets a bad. But don't worry, because there's some good news now. The good news is that tally is about to be canceled out. Because that Saudi crowd during the entrances of Cody and Orton, absolutely good. That was fun. That's right, good column. A tally. Because of the crowd. I have never heard a crowd so passionately sing Orton's theme. And I've heard England, France, Germany. We've heard them all. And they're loud. And they love Randy's theme. But when that Saudi crowd hit, they talk to me! When they hit that, man, did they lay into it and give it everything they had. Completely out of tune, yes. Sorry, not sorry, Saudi. You got to work on the tuning of that, but I'm sure they don't go around calling themselves vocalists. So completely out of tune. But there's not an American Idol audition on record that can match that level of passion. So where Levesque Helmsley failed, the crowd said, hold my coffee. And they put this event on their back and they equaled it up 1-1. Now we get into the match itself. Cody, Randy, King of the Ring. Now, there was a lot of individuals that felt this was going to be a classic. It was going to be, as the kids call, in the Sheamuses, a banger. This was a decent to good match. If you truly know how to dissect pro wrestling and critique it with a watchful eye and put your ducks in a row, know what you're talking about, it's a decent to good match. Wasn't bad, that's the good news. Certainly wasn't ugly. You had your false finishes, your RKO attempts and your crossroads, and you had it all. What I really liked, it was the end of this matchup when Randy tapped into a little bit of that legend killer, that viper, that diabolical heel that I know is still within. And he takes off first he brings in, I think it was like a steel chair, and the ref's like, what are you doing? Not only is that's not legal, but that's your buddy. And Orton's like, I don't care. So the ref takes the chair, so Orton's like, all right, I'll go to the turnbuckle, takes off the top turnbuckle, exposes it. He's willing to knock out Cody with the steel to get this victory. That's what I want to see, man. Tap into that. And they did. Cody reverses it, sends Randy into the exposed steel, and then a crossroads. And just took one, and then he was looking up at the lights, 1, 2, 3. But that's what I mean about the Jason Uso, Jay Yeaterman versus Cody match. When Yeaterman's kicking out of 26 Crossroads and such, Yeaterman looks like Superman on Monday Night Raw last week in his match with Cody. Tag team Uso. Clearly stays away from cardio, not a big fan of the gym, clearly. That's Uso. That's just who he is. Hey, that's cool. But how are we taking this tag team guy who's not very big, doesn't hit the gym, cardio's off, he gets blown up just by dancing and spitting a few lines on the mic, but he can kick out of everything Cody throws at him. But Orton goes into the steel, just exposed steel, just like right here. It wasn't even like head first. And it takes one Crossroads, and Orton's looking up at the lights for 14 seconds. Done. 1, 2, 3. That's what I mean. You got to be careful how much Superman-type booking you're giving Jason Yeaterman, Jey Uso, because you get somebody like Randy Orton coming along. Yeah, you believe maybe he's going to kick out of 3 or 4 Crossroads. And if you're going to hit him with steel, exposed steel, at least dome piece first, maybe? Maybe? But I like the fact that he tapped into that. I want to see a lot more. Post-match, they had Cody doing the kind of crowning of Cody and giving him the crown. Maybe there's a scepter and a robe somewhere. He got to say some words. Thank Randy and everybody. And I was thinking, that's the moment, man. Randy's got to slip in. RKO. Randy is pissed. And then maybe you can salvage some type of story between the two. But we didn't get that. Randy slithers out of the ring. I can speak. Not like a viper would just attack. He slithers out like a wounded python, and then he just goes to the back while Cody gloats and says his hoorah victory speech. There's so much more you could have done here, man. But the match was decent to good throughout. No bad. I like the finish. I just have so fresh that Yeaterman took Cody to an even bigger and more extended limit, and I don't believe that Yeaterman is anywhere near as good as Orton, so it's not believable booking. But maybe I'm being generous here for the first matchup, but I will put this into the good column. Cody was always going to be the king, guys. I don't know any other way to tell you that. That crown was not going over on Randy. They're not going to do Randy and Gunther again because he's the only other champion. They just did that. And they're not going to do Randy and John Cena because we literally just saw that. Cody and Cena would be the match that they would go with as a repeat. Even Cody and Gunther you could do, but it's clear he'll go for John Cena. SummerSlam. But he was always going to get that. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Bad for the booking of this because it could have been on a week's notice for a tournament. I had so much better expectations and high hopes for Randy Orton and Cody. So the booking gets a bad, but the crowd brought it back, equaled that out with a good, and the match itself just passed into the good column. Now, there's not going to be any more mulligans, though. All right? Just putting that out there, man. There has to be better booking involved for me to put these matches into the good. It can't just be good wrestling, because I can get that with basically every match with every wrestler these days. Let me get a swig of coffee. We'll go into match number 2. This was a street fight between Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley. No title on the line or anything, even though it's called Night of Champions. But it's a street fight, so I'm excited because this means there's going to be a street involved, right? Otherwise, it's just no DQ or no holds barred, right? Then you just use like steel steps, tables, trash cans, chairs, because there's no street. So why would we call it unless it's the mean streets of Saudi, like maybe like Philadelphia or whatever, and that's... So I don't even know why we'd be in the streets, but that's what they're telling me. So let's review this, because I'm really hoping that it's not false advertisement, right? You said it's a street fight, WWE. So Raquel and Rhea better been in the street. Let's talk about it. Swig of coffee, match number 2. Street fight, Rhea and Raquel. You gotta love how they are showing all of these champions in the crowd, as if they just purchased a ticket, right? Street Profits, they're all smiling and giggling with their titles, holding them up. See, we're champions, in case you forgot. Because the tag team division is so irrelevant, every time you see the SmackDown tag division, every single tag team is involved in the same segment or the same match. Non-stop, every week, every month, till the end of time, it seems. Did you catch SmackDown? What started out as a Wyatts and Street Profits matchup somehow ended up with the entire tag team roster fighting each other. And then setting up for everybody's move, right? So they all get into groups of like 5 and 6 and hug each other until the guy who's doing the little flippity doodah jumps off the top turnbuckle finally. It usually takes forever, right? So they're all hugging each other and looking, oh, you guys ready? Hold on, here he comes! So they had to wait for Dawkins to do that. And then Montez jumps over the turnbuckle and lands on 6 other dudes. Oh, yeah. Anyway, my disdain for the state of the tag team division and the lack of creative or care that Hunter Hearst Helmsley gives it it's mind-boggling. It's dumbfounding. But anyway, there's the Street Profits showing everyone their titles in case you forgot. Julia's smiling and giggling with her title, showing everybody in the front row. So maybe that's what WWE means by Night of Champions. We're not going to book all of our champions. In fact, we'll book title changes on the day before Night of Champions, like Zelina Vega. We'll have Zelina hand the title over to Julia the day before an event called Night of Champions. In the middle of a SmackDown, because that's brilliant. Especially when you're just a couple of weeks away from an all-women's pay-per-view premium live called Evolution. We'll just have Zelina hand the title over to Julia. None of this makes sense. So all these champions are just showing everybody their titles. That's what makes this Night of Champions. Sandwiched between a Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez match with no title, and sandwiched between Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. No title, no reason. The only storyline there is Karrion keeps telling Sami that he'll never win the title. We'll get to that. But first, let's go over this Rhea Raquel match, because I'm excited, kind of, man. It's a street fight. They're going to go into the streets of Saudi and fight. This is what they're advertising, man. I'm excited, man. They're advertising a street fight. Cool, man. I've been in street fight. They're wild. They're wild, man. So I was really looking forward to this. And then it aired. And it was pretty evident that there was no street involved. No street involved. BC, that's what they do, man. It's just a no DQ match. They just put a fancy name on it. Well, then I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that at all. You advertised a street fight. Now, I don't know what their definition of street is, but it's not the same thing as a canvas or a ring. I don't know what kind of street fights you guys got into, but was there really that many kendo sticks in the streets that you were fighting in? Did you really have a lot of steel steps? Not concrete? Not even wooden? They were steel steps? Did you guys have a lot of steel chairs just laying around? Trash cans? Okay, I'll give you that. Thin pieces of wood and tables with giant Slim Jim logos on them. Did you guys have a lot of street fights with Slim Jim tables? This is a no DQ or a no holds barred is the best I'll give you. No, I'm not letting this pass. I say this when they're in the States and they call it a Philly street fight or a Chicago street fight. No, it's not. It's just a no DQ. It's just a fancy title so you could have Roxanne Perez, Roxy get involved, because that's all that happened. Yes, they got physical, guy. It was, if you just call this no DQ or no holds bar, yeah, you had all the bells and whistles. You had the steel steps, you had the table, you had the steel chairs, you had all of that stuff, all the stuff we've seen before, and they got physical. Right? They took it a little bit to the next level. Cool, I would hope so. It's called a street fight. You're calling this a street fight. You better up it a notch. And then they added in Roxy. So it was basically like a 2-on-1 deal, but Roxy and Raquel looked like absolute schmucks because Rhea just beat them. Rhea with a super riptide. There was a table on the top ropes in the corner on the turnbuckle, and Rhea just jumped off of that table using it like a platform, Like, what do you call that in the pool? What do you call the diving board, right? And they spring off of it, and it's a giant riptide. And Raquel loses this match. Rhea is your winner. They're just prolonging Rhea getting a title anyway. You guys know that. The only reason she hasn't yet, because she was supposed to win that thing at Mania. But there was backlash. A lot of fans were like, no, dude. They were actually heavily behind Io. And it was natural, that reaction. So the company was like, shoot, it's not as bad as like Charlie Flair. Like the crowd completely revolts against Charlie. But we're starting to see a big chunk of the crowd say, hey, I'm done with Rhea right now, man. She's not doing anything for me right now. Rhea, outside of Judgment Day and the good storyline with Dominic, Rhea is just average. That's what a lot of fans were saying. They got heavily behind Io. They had to change plans. Here we are going into the summer, and she still doesn't have that championship, but she's getting it. Trust me when I say the whole plan is to get a title back onto Rhea. They're just trying to make it seem like she's not Rhea Hogan. Ripley Mania, brother! And just laying out everybody in her path and collecting championships. That's all this is. This is just getting us to Rhea getting that title. Either Evolution or they might hold off a couple more weeks to SummerSlam. But she's getting the title. It is what it is. Good for her. I won't knock her, but she does nothing for BC. Rhea never did. Even in Judgment Day, I just didn't care about Rhea Ripley. To BC, she's just beyond average. She has a little bit of a presence. Her wrestling is okay. Take it or leave it. I can leave it. Rhea Ripley has never done shit for BC. But they got physical. It was a good little thing for what it was. I just don't know what it was. I just don't know what it was, and that's the problem, man. You call it a street fight, but it looked to me like they were just no DQing. I don't know what you want from me, man. I'm not gonna bullshit my audience. I'm not gonna have a mulligan every single match just because Helmsley doesn't get creative or books weird or stupid shit. It's Night of Champions, and we have this random street fight that has nothing to do with a street, nothing to do with a champion. No, bad. I don't have to explain this at all. I'm just irritated, so I'm giving you more words than are needed. That's a bad, unequivocally. Because it's unacceptable. Book better. You could put this on a Raw if you want. Put it on a SmackDown. I guess you could put it in the middle of an Evolution. It has no business being at Night of Champions, and it has no business being called a street fight because it didn't involve a street. Hope we're good on that. So that's a bad. So going into match number 3, which is another match that has nothing to do with a championship. It's just this weird filler match. It's a weird side story that's been going on Raw or Smack. I don't even know which. That's how irrelevant it is. And I really like Karrion Kross. You guys know that. Sami Zayn doesn't do anything for me. But it's a side story that's been going on. You thought the payoff might be like this little thing on Raw or SmackDown, whatever brand they're on. Again, I don't even know. I don't care. But no, they put this on an event called... There's only 6 matches on the card. And Karrion and Sami got on it last minute. This match was made a week ago. Or this past week. No championship. No advance notice more than a week. That's what I mean. That's weird shit. But I'll get a swig of coffee and we'll talk about it. Maybe it blew everybody away. Maybe it was exceptional. Right? Maybe it was so damn good. Maybe it's up there with Steamboat and Savage from WrestleMania 3 and Shawn Michaels Undertaker WrestleMania 25. Maybe Karrion Kross and Sami did the deed. Maybe. Swig of coffee, let's talk about it. Match 3. And we're going into match 3 tied. 2-2. 2 bads, 2 goods. The good news is no uglies yet. The bad news is it's 2-2. Going into match 3. It's a pretty subpar event. So Karrion and Sami have to pick it up. Yeah, more champions here. Oh, who's this? Garza and Humberto. That's not even WWE Gold. What is that, AAA? So full transparency, guys, you're getting this review in real time. I'm cutting reviews on these matches directly after the matchups. So that's why you're getting real, raw, amplified emotion as per usual, but a little bit even more amplified for this review, man. This is in real time. And I ain't happy with what I just witnessed with Karrion Kross and Samuel Zayn. Not in the least. Karrion Kross had to have that W. Even WWE said that. Even in their little pre-show, Michael Cole and all his little co-hosts on that panel said this was a match Karrion had to have. Because they know that. We all have been saying that. I think this is his first PLE since like Mania 40. Not 41, 40. This guy can't get airtime unless he's backstage for 10 seconds telling Sammy he's never going to win the title. And if that was realistic, Sammy could just turn around and say, you're never going to win a match. Karrion had to win this. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter how you have Sammy save face, make Sammy look good somehow when I don't know, but Karrion has to win. And look damn good winning. Karrion Kross just lost that matchup. No shit. And it was a beautiful finish. Had they just ended it with the chokeout. Karrion Kross had it locked in. The referee, Sammy's passed out, selling it beautifully. His hand drops. That's it. Oh, we're going to the old school 3 times. Okay, that was old school. The hand has to hit 3 times. In recent years, they just put it up once a lot of times, and that's it. If he's totally passed out, the ref just calls for the bell. Doesn't bother 3 times. But he lifted the arm 3 times. The first 2, Sami Zayn is not just frozen. He's dead. He's done. On the 3rd one, he hulks up. He Jey Uso Yeatermans up, and he comes to life. And he hulks up. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? You just no-sold. You were selling beautifully, and then you just went into no-soul mode. All of a sudden, he's Hogan. All of a sudden, he's Undertaker. So then they had a chance to correct it. Moments later, Karrion has him locked in. Or maybe it was the same. Maybe it's the same hold. So he was hulking up, and Karrion had him again. He tightened up. And Sammy looked like he was going back down. And Karrion kept saying, I told you so, I told you. And it was so well done as Sami Zayn kind of drifted. And Karrion's talking that trash. And I'm like, dude, you just made a star. You just made a star. He already is. The fans are behind the dude, majority. Oh, this is the type of W that's going to put him on the map. This is it. Especially how they're doing, man. Sammy's drifting off, and Karrion has it in the... Like, Karrion is talking that trash as he puts Sammy away. And he looked badass. And, of course, Karrion's believable. He's got that realism. That was a star in the making. And all of a sudden, Sammy hulks up, gets out of it, and delivers a haluva kick. One haluva kick. And Karrion's looking up at the lights for 16 seconds. 1, 2, 3. You could add 13 more counts. Karrion wasn't getting up. Karrion loses via 1 haluva kick. He had everything under control, turns around, haluva kick. That's it. When Michael Cole and themselves before the show said this is a match Karrion has to win because the guy never has PLE matches to begin with. No. Well, but BC, what do you do with Sammy? I don't care what you do with Sammy. Bring him down to NXT, throw him in TNA. I don't care. Put him at the local bingo hall. We've been watching Sami Zayn matches for over 10 years. He doesn't do anything for BC. If he does for you, awesome. When I hear his music, I don't care. When he comes through the curtain, I don't care. When Raw starts, when the show starts and they show everybody coming to work with their coffees and their luggage, I don't care. All I say is, oh, great. He made his night job, right? Maybe he got off shift, his 9 to 5 at Lowe's or Home Depot, whichever one he works at. His day job let him out a little early and he could catch Raw. Awesome. Good for Sammy. That's all I think. Sami Zayn his promos, his matches, they do nothing. Mid-card at best. The most relevant Sammy was when he was with that bloodline, man. In the match he had subsequently with Roman Reigns. I think that was in Canada. That was the most relevant. Good for him. In NXT, him and Kevin Owens had some cool shit going. There's times that he's involved in something good, but he's mid-card. I'm not looking at Samuel Zayn as a Hulk Hogan or a Steven Austin, a Rock or an Undertaker. I don't even look at Sami Zayn up there with Jonathan Cena or Roman Reigns. I don't even look at Sami Zayn like Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. I don't. If you do, that's cool. But there's a lot of us I know I'm not the only one in thinking that Sami Zayn is just a 9-to-5 mid-card type of talent. And I know that sometimes that type of talent can absolutely take an L to somebody like Karrion Kross that needs that W. Sami Zayn would be fine. Sami doesn't need W's right now. Sami just needs solid booking. Karrion needs both. I can't believe they had it sitting in their lap. And when you're seeing it, maybe you had Sami penciled in from the beginning, which obviously they did. And then you see how perfect that is at the end for Karrion. You call the audible. There's no reason Sami couldn't have lost that. He's not going to lose any. Nothing happened post-match. Nothing. No attack. No nothing. So you could have just flipped it. Audibles happen all the time. You just flip it. You read the room. You see how good something is going, and you're like, all right, this is going to make Karrion, dude. That's beautiful. All the puzzle pieces were there, man. Helmsley, Levesque, McMahon had the last puzzle piece, sees where it goes, and instead he flushed it down the toilet with his morning shit. There goes the last puzzle piece. Karrion Kross just loses. I'm mind-boggled at that, man. That was the time to do something. But he's not one of Helmsley's buddies or favorites or one of his guys. So, like LA Knight and so many others, man, they're just going to get thrown to the wayside. I guess you could say this can start something with Karrion, but you got to now get that out of your dome piece that he just simplistically lost with one haluva kick. Meanwhile, you got Jay Uso kicking out of everything under the sun from Cody Rhodes on Monday, refusing to choke out to Gunther's chokehold when Gunther himself tapped out in 8 seconds to a Jay Uso chokehold. That's like the worst chokehold in the business. But Karrion is just like, I got kicked in the... I'm done. That's not bad. That's not just bad. That's ugly. That is absolutely ugly, and that's 2 bads. So as we go into match number 4, Solo Sikoa versus Jacoby Fatu, here's a crazy concept. Actually, a title on the line. The U.S. title. There's a title at Night of Champions. What a wild concept. Shouldn't Jacoby Fatu be in the front row showing everyone his title with the Street Profits and Julia and Garza and Humberto, their AAA tag titles? Shouldn't they be in the... No? So as we go into match number 4, what you're looking at is once we cross that ugly off, that's going to be 2 more bads. It's a 4-2 board. So starting right now, we better start piling up goods. Swig of coffee. Check this match out. Come right on back, and we'll talk about it. Jacob Fatu. Solo Sikoa, U.S. Championship. Good, bad, or ugly? Let's find out. How many are there, man, in this family? I mean, it extends from the Anawais or the Fatus or the Hakus. Tonga Loa. Their brother Hikuleo finally arrives in WWE. He's been signed for the longest of times. We knew he was coming or thought he was. I mean, if you're going to be signed by the company, maybe the company will use you. Did they see something? Are they going to take him to NXT? I mean, this dude signed and then went ghost. But he just debuted, man. Hikuleo, that is Haku's son, the brother of Loa and Tonga. Try to keep up. So he just joined the group. Loa. Tonga Loa just came back as well. I think we last saw him back Survivor Series-ish. So it's been a while for him. He came back in this matchup, and Hikuleo debuted. Mateo was out there as well, but just to take some bumps from Jacoby Fatu. I'm trying to digest all that. It just went off the air. Solo Sikoa and new United States champion. Normally I'd say it's why? Why right now? Why did Jacob Fatu actually have a title reign? Because it doesn't feel it. But given how it went down, I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, you had 100 dudes out there taking on one Jacob Fatu. And these ain't normal. I mean, Hikuleo's a big dude. So when Loa came out, I'm like, nah, Jacob Fatu cannot lose to just a run-in by Loa. But when I saw Hikuleo, I'm like, yup, that's it. That's a wrap. That's this dude's title reign. Sure enough, Solo spike afterwards. Solo is hoisting up United States Championship gold. So big title change there. I don't know how much longer we can or should be playing this game where every single time somebody new comes in that has any attachment or resemblance or any by proxy of this family, do they always have to join this bootleg bloodline? It's getting a little, I don't know, man. At some point, I would like to see some of these dudes stand on their own and see if they can develop their own character and go their own way. And, you know, because they're all just being lumped in with this bloodline. And I don't know how it all, Jacob Fatu seems to splinter off pretty well. I don't know how Guerrillas of Destiny truly are going to. I don't know if Mateo is going to. And the verdict will be out on Hikuleo, obviously. But that's discussion for another day. As far as this review, I didn't mind any of this. I'm actually going to put this into the good. It was overbooked, but I actually don't mind overbooked. And maybe that's a rarity in this community these days, but I don't mind overbooked. I know this is gonna this is gonna sound really bad because people don't like the word sports entertainment, but it actually is it's good wording for professional wrestling, man. I think today we try to think of it too much as just a sport. Wrestler A versus wrestler B have a good athletic competition and then shake hands afterwards. There's no entertainment in that. Good game, good game, good game. I mean, there's pee-wee football for that. This is pro wrestling, man. Good guy, bad guy, ultimate storytelling. Entertain. Overbooking means they cared. For whatever reason, they decided to have a lot of different entities in this one match. A lot of different things being thrown out there. Whether it's all good or not, that's in the eye of the beholder. But the fact that they actually went the extra mile to care about the match, I'll take that. I'll put it in the good because I just didn't see enough bad to overlap any good. Yeah, the verdict will be out on how Hikuleo gels. Can you really make a star out of this guy with this type of a debut? That's still to be told. But for this, I don't have a problem with this, man. There was a really good, man. Solo Sikoa is starting to really come into his own, and that's what really puts this into the good as well, the performances. Jacob Fatu was next level. He was doing some things that Jacob Fatu was doing in that ring, I don't see cruiserweights doing. But Solo's coming into his own when he had that choke on and he was talking that trash, and he was mocking Fatu. You know what I mean? All gas, no brakes. And he's just taunting him as he's got him in a chokehold. That's the Solo that I knew was always in there, man. But there was he was just holding back. I don't think he felt comfortable enough to just let that out. Maybe he was still trying to hold on to that enforcer role where you just still-faced, show no emotion. That works once in a while. But with somebody like Solo, you're going to have to show that personality, man. Show that charisma because it's in there. I mean, this is the brother of Jimmy and Jey Uso, so, it's in there. At least when they're together, the Usos. That's when you get the best of Jimmy and Jey. But anyway, guys, yeah, I won't harp on this. That goes into the good. Again, I fully agree with I know most of us are saying, dude, how many members is this group going to get and lose and gain? And because then it seems like they don't have their own identity. I get all that, but that's discussion starting tomorrow. For this event, for that match, no issue at all, man. If I have to pick good, bad, or ugly, it's going into the good. Congratulations to Solo. That's where he should be, man. Not facing Cody Rhodes on the main event scene. If Solo gets there in the future, cool. But he should not be having Cody Rhodes matches yet. He should not have been beating John Cena a year or two ago in Saudi. You guys remember that? He annihilated John Cena. No, it wasn't the time. This is his role. Mid-card. Win that title. And then take it from there. That's probably why you're seeing a more comfortable Solo Sikoa and the best of Solo Sikoa. because he's properly placed now. Don't try to do too much too soon when it's not time. It's like when LA Knight should have won that Money in the Bank briefcase a couple years ago, but they gave it to Damian Priest because Damian is Hunter Hearst Helmsley's boy and LA Knight wasn't. Look at Damian. He wasn't ready for that main event world championship yet, and that showed. And there was hell of just too many big botches on big stages that Damian partaked in. So now you see Damian in these segments with Jacob Fatu, and so he's back in kind of that mid-card scene. It looked like they took him away from that a little bit. And now he's involved with like Alistair and R-Truth and Mello. But the point is, no matter where you fit him, it's good to see Damian back in the mid-card. Take it from there, then go. If it works, we'll tell you, and then Damian can go back to the main event scene. It's that simple, man. You know, same thing with Solo. They tried too much too fast. It didn't work. So, all right, that's it. Said way too much on that. Let's go into the next matchup. This is going to be the Queen of the Ring, Asuka versus Jade Cargill. Face versus face, just like Randy and Cody. Crowd will probably be a little split, but the majority of the world is most likely going Asuka. WWE and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, they're probably going Cargill. Unless Naomi or somebody interferes. But why? I mean, she's got the briefcase. Wouldn't even make sense. Just concentrate on that. Swig of coffee. I'm going to watch this match and we'll see where we place this. Good, bad, or ugly. So as I aforementioned, we are doing this review in real time. Well, after that fourth matchup, right before the Queen of the Ring final between Asuka and Jade Cargill, I set up for a live stream. And the live stream was for the main event. CM Punk, John Cena championship on the line. We went live for that. That just got over right now. That live stream has just concluded. The event has just went off the air, and we're about to review the final two matchups. I can't fathom what just happened, and I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. First, I will go over Jade Cargill and Asuka in the Queen of the Ring, but man, I'm still trying to digest and comprehend what I just witnessed, what we all just witnessed. If you were a part of that live stream, you know how befuddled BC is, and you guys were just the same. Cannot believe that. Thank you to everybody that made that live stream special, because Paul Levesque McMahon certainly did not. He brought nothing special to the table. But you guys rocked out. That might only be for channel members on the channel right now, that live stream. So channel members, you can still catch that by the time you guys get this review. But thank you guys big time, man. You guys made that fun at least, because I can't comprehend how bad that was. We'll go over it. First, going into match number 5, Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill, Asuka, face versus face. You better have something really special planned. Especially if this is going where we think it is and Jade is just going to beat Asuka. You better do this in an ultra way. It's going to make Asuka look really badass and believable. You have to do this. You just have to do this perfect, because you booked this shit. Asuka should not even be in this position where she could lose to Jade Cargill. Put a heel in that position so Jade beats a heel. No harm, no foul. But going into this matchup, the board was at 3 good, 2 bad, and 1 ugly. So basically, when you cross that ugly out, it's 4 bad, 3 good. So can this tie it up at least? No, I'll tell you from the jump, this goes into the bad. And you should be thankful and happy, if you think I'm being too harsh, that it's not getting an ugly. Cargill beats Asuka. Cargill beats Asuka. That's it. That's what happened. But you see, man, there's more to it, right? Like expand on that a little. There's nothing to expand on. Short match. Asuka looking up at the lights. Jade cuts a promo post-match. I'm the storm. The storm is stormy. I don't know what she was saying. She's going to be the next champion. Learn to wrestle a little better first. I've always been a supporter of Jade because I feel she has that presence, the look, the vibe. Jade could be a star. What's holding Jade back is Jade. Lack of skill. She should not be this green still. And that tells me that there must be a lack of heart or something. And when she cuts interviews, she basically tells you her heart, her head is not fully in this wrestling thing. It's not saying she doesn't bust her ass, but I don't think she's fully into this. I think it was that way in AEW, especially now with WWE and their travel schedule. She's already said this in interviews, man. She can't stand the travel. It's like Brock Lesnar all over again. This is your first full-time year in WWE. The heck are you going to do if you're here 4 or 5 years? I don't think that's happening. I think she knows that. That's the only reason she would be this green still. The only thing holding her back is her, because the booking is clearly behind her. Helmsley is giving her whatever piece of the rocket he's giving her. But the promo afterwards and Asuka just kind of fades away into irrelevancy, a non-factor. I don't like any of how this went down. Asuka just came back last month. She just came back. No, a few weeks ago. Just put a heel in there with Jade. If that's all you had, just something to get Jade over. What the fuck is Asuka playing the role of jobber for? Why are you doing a face versus face match? No, there's nothing good in. I didn't see anything good. The match wasn't good to me. The finish, not good to me. What it leads to, not good to me. I don't know what you want me to say. This is a situation where the bad outweighs the good. Sorry, not sorry. This is a truthful, very amplified, honest channel. That's it. It's bad. No more words needed. Let's go to the main event. The board at this point looks at 3 good, right? What was all the good tallies? The crowd for Orton's entrance and Cody. The crowd. Match number 1, I gave a good to. Solo and Jacob Fatu, I gave a good to, so that's 3 goods. Rhea Ripley and Raquel in a street fight with no street involved. Okay, that's a bad. We also gave a bad for we gave a bad for Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes happening too. Face versus face, no real story on 1 week's notice just to finish off a tournament. So that got a bad. So then it was 3-2, and then Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross just losing like that. That was an ugly. So that gets crossed off into 2 more bads. So that was 4-3. And then this matchup, Jade and Asuka gets a bad, so it's 5-3. So Cena and Punk has to get a great. That would be 2 goods, and at least we can end in a tie. And then we'll figure out how to do a tiebreaker. Maybe I'll take it to the chat, and you guys can decide if this was a good or bad event. But don't worry, we're not even going to get that far. You don't have to worry about that, trust me. Because the main event just went off the air. We were live for that. And now we're going to talk about it. I can't believe that's what Helmsley signed off on. Punk, Cena. Slow to start. Second half of the match, they clustered it up. Overbooking. I love overbooking because usually it does make sense, or at least in a semblance of making sense. It's at least, hey, they cared, so they overbooked it. There's a lot going on. It's fun. Do you want to know what they did? They brought down Rollins and the Goon Squad. Rollins and Cena start fighting each other. Rollins and Cena. Cena's a heel. So why would you put the briefcase on a heel Seth Rollins if you had no real plan for him? You should have just put it on LA Knight. Could you imagine LA Knight's music hitting? LA Knight runs down, the electricity in the crowd. And I don't know, Cena and LA Knight start trading blows? Fist for fist? Heel? Face? What? Yeah. No? No, instead we'll put the briefcase on Rollins. Every Monday he'll cut the same old boring promo. I have the briefcase. I have the power. At any time I can cash in. The same promo we hear every single time somebody has a briefcase. Same promos we've heard from Sethington himself many years ago. And we're just doing the same thing. And now they're parading him out there and they don't even care who he's fighting with. Little bit of CM Punk that we've seen 16 times. Go out there and trade punches with John Cena. He's a heel. You're a heel. There was a moment where Cena's lifting Seth Rollins up for the attitude adjustment and the crowd's cheering. Everything Cena's been doing as a heel and just ripping away at the crowd. And because you booked Rollins to take an attitude adjustment, the crowd's like, what do we do? Meanwhile, while that's happening, Rollins and Cena are punching each other. That's a real thing. Meanwhile, around the ring and up the ramp, a bunch of mid-carders are fighting each other for no reason. Samuel, Zayn, Penta, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. It's a mid-card party. They took the party out of Chuck E. Cheese and they showed up in Saudi in a main event match with two actual main eventers, John Cena and CM Punk, and they turned it into a circus. Samuel, Zayn, and Penta battling Breaker and Bronson for the second half of this match, basically. In the finish, Seth Rollins just knocked Punk out with a briefcase. And then Cena throws Rollins over the top rope like it's a Royal Rumble. Somehow getting thrown over the top rope knocks you out because Rollins was down and out. Probably not as devastating as going through a Slim Jim table. That'll keep you frozen for 10 minutes, just ask CM Punk. He gets thrown over the top rope, and then Cena just covers Punk because he was knocked out with the briefcase. Maybe there was an attitude adjustment. I don't know. The sixth one of the match, by the way, because they were just kicking out of each other's finishers left and right. Bunch of false finishes before we even got to the circus. And that's it. Rollins attacks Punk, and then Cena just throws Rollins out. And the show goes off the air. If you didn't see the show, you're like, BC, there's no way the show went off the air like that. Maybe you missed something. Nope. I kid you not, I was live. The credits popped up. There's Paul Levesque McMahon telling you that he produced the garbage. And then we faded to black and we went to a commercial. That's the show. CM Punk just eats another fucking weird... It's not just CM Punk is losing. It's the way he's being booked. The dude is booked like an absolute... It's weird. It's shit that does not make him look good. Rollins and his goons are so stupid. They're so bad. Paul Heyman should have nothing to do with this. He looks like a goofball. He looks so misplaced. You can't go from Brock Lesnar to Roman Reigns to this goof troop. Penta's over there diving off the fucking stage on the Samuel, Zayn, and Braun Breaker like anybody gives a fuck about Samuel, Zayn, or fucking Penta. And I'm not going to act like I care about these fucking mid-carders. Book them properly, make me care about them. And then when I see them in a main event segment, the last fucking 2 minutes of a show, a premium live pay-per-view, then I'll give a fuck. And then I'll tell you. The show went off the air just like that. So you need you need two goods to tie this up at, what is it, 5-5? Is that the board? Guess what? It gets 1, nah, what? 2, nah, what? 3, what? 4, what? 5 uglies. 5. I don't give a shit. 5 uglies. This was garbage. You can't. Helmsley needs to remove himself. If not, then Nick Khan, I know that's his buddy. Ari, somebody has to step in and intervene. If you're this bad at your job, you would be fired, or at least move to a different position. Helmsley is the worst booker I've ever seen on the planet. I've seen many organizations, many companies, many federations. I've seen bingo halls book better than this. Helmsley's the worst to do this. You don't give the creative pen, the booking magic, to one of the boys. Helmsley is just one of the boys. That's all he is. Vince Russo says it best when he was writing for WWE and everybody was coming up with all these ideas and DX, and Helmsley never said a peep. He never had a word. All he would do is go into the office with Vince, shut the door, and whisper sweet nothings into Vince's ear, as long as Vince would switch things up. But he never had a creative thought to send to the writers. So you think that was going to change now that he's older and really doesn't give a damn? Are you surprised you're getting junk television? You're getting pathetic, creative, atrocious booking? Are you shocked? You have a guy at the top that is lost and doesn't even care to find the right path. You have a guy at the top who's just one of the boys, and he sucks. You could put a Kevin Nash in there, and at this point, it wouldn't make a damn's worth of a difference. You could put Hulk Hogan in there. We know how that turns out. Has anybody stopped and realized that Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, McMahon is running the show? Are you surprised it's this fucking bad? 5 uglies. So what does that make the fucking board? I don't. You guys will see it. I'm going off my own Steiner math. So that's 5 more uglies. That's 6 in total. Each one of those gets crossed off into 2 bads apiece. So that's 12 bads. 5 more uglies is 10 more bads. So 15? 15 to 3? That's your board. Unapologetically. You know, you try to generate excitement. It's Saturday morning for a lot of people, or Saturday afternoon. Maybe it is Saturday evening. And you try to generate excitement, man. It's pro wrestling. It's what we love. It's WWE. I mean, we grew up on this shit. We really want it to be good. And when it ends, you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Shit show. All these events are. All of them. Helmsley has to go find another position. You ain't got to fire him. Give him a raise, but just put him in a different position. Give him a nice, cozy office job. He loves being on TV, so give him a general manager job. Let him become a referee. He'll be on there 4 matches a night. He can be a manager. I don't know. This isn't it. These shows cannot go off like this. They can't. Night of Champions had nothing to do with champions. It was 2 title matches. 1 changed hands. Julia and Vega, for some reason, was 24 hours before in the middle of a SmackDown. Couldn't have waited 2 weeks for Evolution? You couldn't have waited 24 hours to put it on this show? No, they had to put Rhea, Ripley, and Raquel in there in a street fight that had nothing to do with a street. So your big surprises in the main event was Sam Zayn and Penta. That's what I got for you. Ponder all of that, digest all of that, and you'll probably come to the same conclusion. WWE is and just has so many issues. They're in a whirl of shit right now. They have so much they need to fix. And until they do, the ratings will continue to go backwards. They'll continue not to be able to have consistent sellouts. Merchandise will continue to be down year to year, which it is still 14%. I'm giving you facts. I'm giving you numbers. Why is everything going backwards? Because people are going away in droves because your product sucks. That's Night of Champions. That's your amplified review. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Ain't nobody does it like BC and the unit does it. We just did it again. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys are out. BC in the unit. We're saying check you. Salut. Monday Night Raw this Monday. We'll do it all again. I think it's going to be early, man. I think they're still, I don't know, right? I think they're having an earlier, so maybe we can go live for a little bit of that Raw. I'll have to check the timing on Raw, but I don't think it's in its normal time slot. And speaking of, SmackDown starting next week goes to 2 hours. Finally. Maybe it's the start to try to get on the right track. BC in the unit. We're saying check you. Salut!